This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Welcome everybody to Game Time. It's been a weird day, week, and I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone.
We are.
I believe so, because last week, originally I canceled the game night because my kids and stuff weren't going to be here. I canceled it. I'm glad I did, because we ended up losing power till like 10 o'clock at night. I didn't know if I was going to be getting a hotel room so I could actually have working toilets and things like that, but apparently it's happening all over again this Saturday. So hopefully we don't lose power and we can have game night. So what you're hearing right now is Slurpee McSlurp. She's brand new to the show. Welcome.
Hi.
I should have changed it on your name. Hey Bill, at least she did it to me this week.
That she did. Well, just wait. It's coming for me.
I was trying to change it up.
They got it.
You can't get used to, like, me only doing it to Bill, so I got to change it up.
I just got to say, I'm glad it was coffee. I thought you had your bong going for a second there.
Oh, but and then Moot we have here, and he's just going, what did I step into?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
It's
all good.
This is what I like to say. Thursday is the pregame for the weekend, right? You have pregames in football. Well, this is your pregame for Friday and the weekend fun. At least that's my idea, anyways. I like to think that. Tonight's gonna be a little different. We don't really have much, if any, home arcade stuff to talk about. We have a little bit from AtGames, but I put it out there, and I thought it was an interesting idea. I'm not saying that anybody has said this to me or anything, but are you a collector or are you a hoarder? And I think that's going to be an interesting discussion later on that I think a lot of us, I think, could weigh in on. And I know, Bill, you've got a really good retro spotlight later too. I think for real arcades, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
yep.
Mm-hmm. So Matt Asher Gaming.
You'll have to wait.
So Matt Asher's Gaming. We were actually saying this behind the scenes. Like, so I got the Mario hat, a new Mario hat, because I wanted it to be different, right? So I got the black one, and it's got some really cool stuff under it. Getting ready for the Mario movie. And then Moot got on, and he had his Super Mario hat on. We did not plan this, not at all, except his is cooler because it's fitted. So mine doesn't get here till tomorrow. Listen, I'm a fitted hat person. I don't really like the ratchet straps on the back, but It is what it is. And we can't leave. Bill, you got your Super Mario.
I do. I have my Mario movie shirt on. Make everybody a little.
Make everybody jealous. The movie.
Everybody jealous. My Comic-Con exclusive.
And then Jade, you have your Mario. We could sort of see it through the mic. Oh, here we go. The big reveal. Da, 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 da.
There's a reveal.
He's right on my boob.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a reveal for all the people that were looking for it tonight.
There you go.
And then Moat's got a unique one. I've not really seen this.
The Japanese Bonsai Bill shirt.
Oh, you gotta love it.
That's cool.
And I'm the sellout because I'm wearing a PlayStation shirt. I didn't think to wear my Mario shirt this week. I wasn't really paying attention the last couple.
But to be completely honest, though, I don't give a crap about the Mario movie. I just coincidentally wore a Mario shirt, and then I was like, "Oh, look, pink ears!"
Wait.
Can we mute her?
Yeah, wait. What? Let's go back to that. You don't care about. You're not going to see the Mario movie.
I mean, I'm sure I'll end up seeing it, but I'm not going to go to the theater and spend money to see it.
Why? All inquiring minds here and in the chat room want to know, and the big question is, why?
What's the guy's name who does his voice?
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. I wanted to say Pine. Chris Pine's very attractive. He has nice lips. But Chris Pratt, Chris Pratt, I mean, like, no, like, I actually like Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't know. It's just the Mario thing isn't really working for me. I don't know.
Okay, so let me ask you something that I asked my friends. Do you want to hear an hour and a half movie with Chris Pratt's voice talking like a normal individual, or do you want to hear an hour and a half movie with him going, "Here we go, woohoo, okie dokie"? I'm getting going with that in the first 2 minutes. I'll take Chris Pratt all day.
I'm down with.
I want to hear an hour and a half movie with you talking like that, Mo, because that was awesome.
Look, if you want to hear an hour and a half. This is the show, and
do it for the rest of the show. Do it for the rest of the show.
No.
Do it for the show. Yeah, do it for the show.
But seriously though, just think about how annoyed you would become. Like I literally
that's really just a cop out reason. I'm just like not hyped for it really. I don't know.
but still, my beating heart. I thought that it would be something that you would be interested in at least checking out a little bit of. If it's not for anybody, for Jack Black, because Jack Black.
Oh, he's gonna be.
I'm gonna watch it. Look, I'm gonna watch the movie. Okay, I'm just not paying to go see it in the theater.
Thursday night, next Thursday, after the show, maybe I'll get a late showing, or go see it before it. But that's the plan. Or maybe I'll do a Friday matinee in the afternoon since everybody's off at work.
Woo, MG is spicy tonight.
We'll see. We do have a super chat. Let's pull this up here. Console Fanboy says, I think we're all extremely sick, but it's seen as healthy because the majority of us do it, so it must be okay. We enable each other. It's okay, though. I'm not quite sure what he's referring to on that one, but appreciate this super chat.
I'm assuming it's the show topic. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Now that makes sense, now that I read that.
Somebody say my name.
Yeah, we said you were sick.
Jayde.
In the head.
I meant chill.
No, Zohar said sick, so we just automatically. That's why it didn't make sense at first. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get to that a little later on with is it hoarding or is it collecting? But I think we wanted to talk about something that Bill, you pulled this up, or you brought it to my attention. You guys remember a couple weeks ago we had mentioned about the Wii U and how it could brick the NAND. Bill, why don't you talk a little bit about this, what you found?
Yeah, so supposedly if you had let your Wii U sit for a while, you hadn't been using it, the NAND on it would be, like you said, bricked or whatever. You basically couldn't use your system anymore. Well, this modder is working on a way, basically, I don't fully understand what he's doing, but there's something that you can solder on the Wii U itself, and then he's working on a software piece that will pretty much let you just take an SD card and use that in replacement of the onboard NAND and bring your Wii U back to life. And he says once he gets it all worked out, he's basically just going to put everything out for free. So
yeah, dude.
Probably be on GitHub or something.
He's freaking awesome. He
you know
is
who this
on.
guy is? Okay.
Yeah, we follow each other on Twitter. He just did a video about, and he's been tweeting a lot about fixing this. So he basically saw the original article where they were talking about the NAND frying, and then he got just balls deep into it. And I don't know, this guy, he's like a genius, but he does really cool technical videos. Like if you want to know how to mod something or learn how to or figure out how to, you can learn by watching his videos. Like he is detailed. But yeah, he's got his own YouTube channel. It's just Voltar. I think it's Voltar. I feel stupid now because I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but I'm pretty sure
that's
going to
be that's going to be really cool if he can do a software patch on that, because I'll be honest, I checked mine the other day, it was working fine, so I'm like I'm in good shape right now. But it's nice to know that somebody out there is working on something that will.
Yeah, he's like a Wii genius. Like if I have Wii questions, in fact, I just asked him a Wii question, wee little question.
He does those ones where you can hack. I don't want to say hack because the hacking community gets mad, but where you could soft mod your Wii or Wii U, right? He does a step by step. I think I followed one of his tutorials once on the Wii to play my backups.
Yeah, he's really good, and he's very articulate. Yeah, he's very articulate. You should pull up his YouTube real quick.
Oh yeah, I'll just pull it up right quick.
He's very articulate too. So, and it's crazy because he does like these over an hour long videos, right? And he puts these things out, and he gets like the last one that he put out last time I saw it was like within a day or two. Was it like 52,000 views or something? So like, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. That's him. And then go to his videos.
Yep,
scroll over to his videos.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. So see, he's been covering like the Wii U stuff lately.
Mm-hmm. But he also has stuff like fixing your Nintendo Super.
Yeah. He's
nice.
like
I think I did
smart with everything.
Yeah.
Like
I think I did watch one of his tutorials when I soft modded my Wii. I believe I did his. It came up in a search, and but that's cool. It's nice to know. But I think we all figured that was going to happen, right? Like they're not just
somebody would figure it out.
Yeah, somebody's going to figure it out.
But I think it's cool that he figured out how to basically replace the NAND that's on there with an SD card.
Yeah,
that he figured out, a way that you'll be able to do that. And I know some people were saying, they were concerned about speed or whatever, but the SD cards nowadays are probably faster than the NAND that was on the Wii U when it came out.
Right.
So that shouldn't be a concern.
So the bad guy, Mike Worley, is in the chat. And I have to say, if you haven't watched my video this week of the challenge that I'm actually going to attempt, it's all his fault. So I just want to put that out there right now. It's all his fault. And then he made me kind of sit there and go, what have I done? When he started telling me some of the pricing on some of
I done?
But you know what though? He's had my back. He's like, you need to get this, book, you need to work. Like he's coming in and trying to help me. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna try to get, if not
what are you talking about, Steven?
The North American NES collection. I've decided that it was the first console I ever had with my brother and I'm actually going to try to do it. I have a video up.
You're going to get the whole thing?
I'm going to attempt to. Because he said,
that's cool.
Like he said, I could end up finding like little Samson at a garage sale that was $2 when it's worth like $2,000. So
there's this guy on TikTok who has, I want to say he has the whole SNES and NES North American collection, or very, very close. Like, oh man, what is the name of his account? But he does great videos. Like I stitched with him one time, and it's his stuff is just, it's crazy, it's wild. But he did one where it was like, what's your favorite NES game or something? And then I stitched with Zelda. It was like, or name one of your favorite NES games. Oh, I can look. I can.
Why don't you look it up? Listen, this is something I've never. I collect for all. I collect for all the consoles, and she's gonna get us copyright striked. I have a bunch of games for each one.
We're trying to do a show here.
If you haven't seen Mike O'Hearn memes, you really need to see them because they're just a treasure.
No. Okay. So this is something that I'm going to document with video. I'm going to show every week. I'm going to try to show that because I'm sitting there like, man, I can't just keep doing reviews and stuff. That's getting old of different stuff. I mean, I will, but it's not something I want as my main content. So I was like, you know what? Every game that I buy for the NES that week, I'm going to do a video showing what I got and, if I got a good deal on it and just kind of bring everybody along on the journey because some of the guys were like, this is like a lifelong journey. And I'm like, it could be. It really could. I mean, I don't know. But you don't know unless you try,
You've got a lot of games for a lot of systems. You don't have a lot of NES games right now?
I have 50 NES games, and probably half of them are complete in box. I don't have.
That just seems like a lot to me, but okay.
I don't have a lot of them from when I was a kid. My Zeldas are from when I was a kid, Link and Legend of Zelda. So, yeah, I probably have the most for PS2 and Xbox 360. I probably have close to 150 for each of those. So, considering there's 700, what is there? 716 NES titles? Is that what it is for the North Americans? Somebody help me out in the chat. Plus variants.
Close to that.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yep.
So here it is. Retro Thunder. Yeah. Retro Thunder.
MG says.
Yeah. What game should every gamer play through at least once? And I said The Legend of Zelda.
That's a good
Whoa,
one.
he's got 87.9K followers. He's gotten huge since. But anyways, yeah, like it. So if you go check him out on TikTok, it's just Retro Thunder, but with no E. So THUNDR.
Paul Barris. Yeah, I started when I started collecting for consoles and stuff back in I want to say late 2018, early 2019 during the pandemic because there was nothing else to do and I ran out of room for arcades. Mr. Rightway, I've been friends with him forever. He's the one that I actually like learned how to do it, and not to use his catchphrase, but do it the right way, and find it and not pay out the wazoo for all this stuff, and learned if you find cheap games that are duplicates, how to flip them and get additional games to basically where it's kind of free. I mean, you guys remember Glenn got mad at me the one week because I got that free Game Boy.
Yes.
So there's different things like that, but either way, I'm going to start that journey. I think it's going to be interesting. I ordered Pat the NES. I think it's Pat Contry's book on the complete collection. Mike had suggested it, so that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I need a goal to do with that. So let's take a look at what AtGames. Well, I don't know if they announced it. We knew it was coming, but let's take a look at some pinball.
AtGames news and notes.
Yeah, you can check on TikTok,
Okay.
Steven.
I will. Let's stay on the
sorry.
subject at hand, please. Thank you very
sorry.
much. We're trying to keep going with the show, and you're like, you're like
I thought you were
sidetracking
playing
here.
one of those at-game Christmas song videos. Sorry.
No. No, actually, AtGames. Well, this might be a Christmas song video. Come to think of it, no, this is an Easter song video. It's funny you say that.
Oh boy.
The new pinball tables, the two that dropped from Dr. Seuse. I actually got them early today. The rest of everybody apparently is getting them tomorrow. I'm not the only one. There's other people that got them early to test out to play. At first, like the ABC one, I was kind of like, nobody's gonna play this. Like ABCs, but believe it or not, that's the one I played the most.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was very unique.
Wait,
just
why
like
are
it's
we
saying.
why are we disconnected? Is that me?
What are you talking about?
What?
You're still here.
It says chat disconnected and
Maybe
the
your
live stream.
Maybe your
is
internet's
buffering.
dying. Hopefully your internet's not dying. You guys are
Oh.
still seeing. So just so you guys know,
yeah, my internet.
Jade was having an issue with her internet. I hope she didn't drop. She just dropped? No, she's still there.
No,
Jade,
she's still here.
Jade had an issue. She didn't know she was going to make the show tonight because of her internet. So if she drops, we're going to get her back in as soon as we can.
What is going on right now? What?
Oh boy.
California's being bombed.
Hmm.
So I don't know. These are going to be available tomorrow, I believe. And let me see. I have the other one here. Let me just frame it up. Bill, I know you expressed some interest in getting.
Yeah, I definitely want to check them out. I gotta say, I think it's a little funny that. What did they announce? Like a few months ago that they were gonna drop the two of them early in March, and they wait till the last day of March to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was
but
because
at least, hey, look, At least they still did it in March.
Yeah,
Can't deny it.
I know. P-Dubs was on them about it. I don't know if it was just because they had some last minute fixings that they had to do to the tables, but if you guys are on the fence with Dr. Seuss, because it is Dr. Seuss and it's kids' game, Mo, I'm telling you, this is fun. It really is fun. Like the whole 3D, it's no Star Wars or Marvel, but I mean, it's fun.
No, I like the first one. I play. I think the Grinch one is my favorite.
Yeah, I like Dr. Seuss stuff. You know what I mean? Like I was literally waiting for this pack to actually drop before I actually bought it for the AtGames, so I can have something to do on there besides the stock things or putting a PC in it. So yeah, like Green Eggs and Ham. I love the story. Like, I probably know that's probably one of the only books I know by heart. So yeah, I'm curious to try.
I was gonna say, when I think of Dr. Seuss, I think of like three things: Green Eggs and Ham, The Cat in the Hat, and raves. If you know, you know.
Yeah, Green Eggs and Ham. My daughter likes that because her name is Samantha, and we call her Sam, and her friends call her Sam, so she goes Sam I am. And so Dr. Seuss. So she loves those Dr. Seuss tables, and they'll get a lot of play. $25. Ooh, it's steep for 2 tables, but I know you're getting the other 2 tables. If I'm understanding this correct, you get the other 2 tables, so you get 4. So
I think they said June. The other
June, yep. So don't look at it because I saw some people like, yeah, 25 for 2.
You've got the $10 super chat there, Stephen.
Oh, go ahead and read it there.
No, I don't read those because it is insulting to the console of fanboy. It must be read by Stephen.
Why me? What? Oh, because he doesn't want to have the voice. Okay. He said, Stephen, I was able to unlock Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Street Fighter 3 on the Shinku Hadouken. Not sure if it works on Yoga Flame or Big Blue, but it works. I'll have a video on this soon. Sorry to share that. No, that's cool. So anybody out there, if you have the cabinet, I know there's a bunch of guys that have that cabinet. So yeah, let us know if you get the video up during the show. Put the link in the chat room. I have no problem with that. Moderators will make sure that it's shown because I don't think links are blocked.
That's great. I wonder if they have online play and spectate mode built into that hack as well.
So is it a hack, or is it like?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Moat.
Okay, because I know this is the first I'm hearing. Is this a hack that? No,
it's a hack. All right.
Is this like kind of like the pinball hack? Is that what it is?
No, I think
I'm out of the loop because I don't have that cabinet.
I guess we won't find out until the video comes out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my head is in 100 million different directions right now. So if he got one over on me as to be a joke, well played, sir. Well played. So sorry, Mo. But yeah.
No, you don't have to apologize to me. Look, I want to see it because if I can add value to that Yoga Flame back there, by all means, I'm trying to do so.
Yeah,
so,
there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, you know. That's what Console Fanboy says. So it's KSF being a Muppet, Steven. You Muppet.
Look, everybody just wants one thing right now, and that is for Arcade 1-Up to stop making Street Fighter 2 and do the Alpha series and Street Fighter 3. Everybody loves very much.
MG says I look stupid right now. Probably. I feel stupid right now. Yeah. It's just been one of those days. I think all of us have had the day that we'd like to forget as well as the week that we'd like to forget.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
So I apologize if I seem a little scattered today. It's just out there.
You know what? That apology wasn't enough. We're gonna need another one, Steven.
Okay. I'm sorry. Do I need to get on my knees and grovel? And
please don't.
I'm not going to.
Unless Natasha is here.
So let's talk about this briefly, and I mean briefly. Okay, so all the people complaining about the Pac-Mans, the Street Fighters, and all this stuff. It's like, I guess I was thinking, like, how else are you going to reach a different demographic? Like, I started thinking about the whole email scandal that went on with going to different influencers that are not in the gaming community, that are not in this. And then I started thinking about the whole functional furniture that John talked about. That's
I
what
got one.
Arcade
You guys
wanted.
didn't get one of those?
No. So I'm
Get that
wondering.
email?
So I'm wondering if this is a way that they can reach that new audience.
That's right. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. We're all under NDA.
So
wait, what?
God, it's gonna be one of these nights, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm perfecting
she
my
has her
live
own
troll
agenda
skills.
compared to what we have. So I'm doing my best here. I really am. She's like in rare form tonight.
What was
don't
in
know
that
what to tell you.
cup? That's what I want to know. What were you drinking?
That might be the first question.
I wish there was some whiskey right there. Right there. A little bit of whiskey woohoo.
I mean, is it Kahlua? I mean, it looks a little dark.
No, it really isn't. I'm just neurodivergent, that's all.
Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Did anybody pre-order this? Did you get the system? I couldn't justify myself to pick up another.
I like the Splatoon 3 Switch OLED. That one is so cool. I really want that one. But Tears of the Kingdom is like, I mean, I guess if you're a Zelda fan, it's pretty cool because it's gold and stuff. But it's just like,
it does look cool.
I don't know. I mean, like, it does. I think it looks cool. I'm just saying, like, it's like they come out with these freaking consoles, like.
Right.
Well, can we talk about the people that are buying them just as to collect
Who's
and
that
sell
guy
on a
with
shelf?
Who's that guy with the long hair that
Wood
makes like the
Hawker.
really funny videos, and he does like only Switch stuff mostly?
Woodhawker.
Talking about beat 'em ups.
Beat 'em ups. Woodhawker.
Yeah, I think so. He just got one because I saw that.
He's not saying how. He's not disclosing how he got it.
I don't think he was supposed to get it. Yeah, because we know Nintendo didn't send him that because he had that falling out with Nintendo.
And that's why he keeps saying he's scared. But like, I can't.
Didn't do.
What are they gonna do? Cease and desist him? Like, it's already open.
Yeah, send it back.
Right? Like, bro, pay me. Yeah, pay me first.
I get it.
Bad.
He collects it and he does it. That's all he does is Nintendo content for the most part. But
Yeah.
I can't see spending $350 on this when I've spent it on my kid, my wife.
He spent $3,000 on like the Thunderbolt.
I know.
I literally just watched that video like a couple days.
I watched it too, and I'm sitting there going, "Dude, you are insane, insane."
I'm like, and he's like, "Well, the video sponsored." I'm like, "Yep, spend the other company's money."
Man,
that's absolutely what you do. Like, because there's no way, there's no freaking way.
And I somebody asked me, they sent me a message that, "Are you pre-ordering it? Quick, hurry up and pre-order it." I'm like, dude, I have an OLED. I have the first generation one in the other game room. My wife, I bought her an OLED. My daughter has an OLED. My son has an OLED, and both my wife and my daughter have the the light. That was the first one that they ever got.
Yeah, Switch Lite. Yeah.
So you guys need to super chat me because I'm spending a lot of money on this stuff, and I really need the money.
Well,
I'm being facetious.
That's how videos happen.
No. Yeah. I'm being. Don't. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Where are your receipts, Steven?
Listen, I don't need. That's the last thing I need is another Switch. So,
but the game I'm getting.
The game I'm going to
get.
Yes,
the game I'm getting for sure. It looks really good. Did anybody watch the gameplay video?
I did. I did. It's like it's a sandbox essentially, like literally speedrunners. And I saw it and I was like, dude, speedrunners are gonna blow through this game if that's what you can do. Like, it's gonna be insane. Speaking of which, if you're thinking about buying the game, you're gonna buy a digital. Use the pro tip and buy the little vouchers for $100. You can get it. You can save like up to $30-$40.
Yep.
Zelda 70. You can get Pikmin 4. You know, like anything else. So use the vouchers.
Absolutely.
Save some money.
Okay, so I didn't even know about the vouchers. I missed that.
Oh well, just
Yes, you did. I did a video on it, and you commented on it. So shut up.
I'm teasing. Listen, I'm teasing Bill. Calm down. I'm teasing him.
You've been missing a lot lately.
No. I knew Bill was going to get in an uproar about it. He's like, wait a minute.
You know what's really funny
but see,
about
you
all
don't
this?
buy digital, so it meant nothing to you.
No.
Yeah. What's really funny about all this Switch OLED Zelda stuff is they're gonna put this out and then probably put another OLED out, and then at the Nintendo Direct this summer or right before winter they're gonna announce a new console because we're in year 7, about to be in year 7 of the Switch's existence.
Something like that.
I don't know. Nintendo
Yeah.
said not for another 3 years.
Yeah, but Nintendo also usually never does a console past, you know what I mean, past like 6 years into its life cycle. And it's getting dated, and publishers are even like, we can't give you XYZ except for the cloud because the console's not powerful enough.
But hear me out for a second and tell me what you guys think. I think that we're going to see this with all the consoles, not just Switch, across the board, that 2019, 2020, 2021 are all forgotten years for these consoles because of the pandemic. So
Right.
if you take that into account, it's 7 years minus the 3. We're still on what? Fourth year? Really pushing
In
this?
theory.
Yeah,
In theory.
That's fair. I mean,
In theory. And I think Nintendo's going to try to milk this, as well as other companies, for as much as they can to prolong because of the chip shortage, because of all these other things. I honestly think we're not going to see a new console for 2 to 3 years. That's my honest guess. I would be floored if they did that.
well, they could always announce a console and still not have it come out to like 2024 or 2025. You know?
Well, you saw beat 'em ups, right? When he put it in, the last firmware on that Zelda one was from last year. And that kind of made me even think even more. It was from June of last year that they've had this console ready for a whole year and they held
Of course.
Mhm.
I mean, that's normal business stuff. You know, they build stuff, and it's nothing really different in the hardware. It's just a Switch OLED with a skin. You know, so there's
Yeah,
nothing
absolutely.
really that they really need to do to it. You know, and what update the firmware for stability updates? I mean, come on, like that's pretty much why they.
Yeah,
They're
and
not gonna use it.
He said Nintendo always tells the truth.
well, no, it's just like any other company, right? And MG goes,
Yeah.
2019, the pandemic, which one was that? So what I mean by that is it was toward the end of 2019. We were supposed to get some different games. In fact, this game was one that we were supposed to get a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
But when the pandemic happened, Nintendo pulled back on everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Still waiting here on Metroid Prime 4.
Right.
Here's something.
Yeah. So it's all
Hey,
these games.
you know what? I was looking at and I didn't look up the information on this, so I'm going to sound really stupid because I can't remember because I think it came out while I was on a deployment.
What's that?
But I did get it. I do have the game. I've just never played it. So I have Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on GameCube, and then I got 3 Corruption, and then Metroid Other M came out after Corruption or before.
After.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
what I
that-
thought. So
that's a
after
Wii
after
game,
Corruption. So I
Yep.
have Other M, but I haven't played it yet.
Don't
And-
open it. Listen. Download the
you're not
ISO. I'll
missing
send you
anything.
one. Yeah, just don't open it. Let it be a Nintendo game and appreciate and value. Just don't open it. And you're
right.
not missing anything. He's right.
No.
But is it so? It's all like the same style, right? Like first person.
No, Other M is also more of like it's a 2D scroller like the other ones with like a pseudo 3D to it in certain
Right.
parts, but it's its own story. It went in a very different direction from a lot of the other Metroids, and a lot of people just didn't particularly care for the way they took it. It was done it wasn't done by Retro,
Retro.
or
It was
in-house.
Retro.
It was
I thought it was Retro Soft who did it, or Retro Studios. I thought they did it.
I thought it was some
I think
find out.
I feel like
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
feel
think it
like
was
Mike
somebody else.
is on the right track. It's like retro something. Like
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
Retrosoft
probably-
Studios did the
Retro-
wrestling game, Retromania.
Are we looking? Are we looking right now?
it was
We're
We're
Retro
like those
Studios that
cool.
did
We're
the
like those
Prime
cool
games.
people on the podcast, and then we start looking something up, and we're all doing it at the same time. We're like, oh, look at
Yeah.
me, I'm looking something up.
Oh, it was Team Ninja did it. Okay.
That's it. What it was. That's yeah. So it was very different.
I was gonna say, don't count on me looking it up. I'm pressing enough buttons here. You guys go. There's 3 of you. There's 1 of me.
A couple more.
I'll sit here, press buttons. You guys look it up and tell me.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now that I'm seeing it, right. I need to play this.
So here,
Download
so
ISO.
somebody put in a question here, or not a question, a comment. Let me go back. It's Paul Barris, I think it was. He said, "How about a re-release of the Game Boy?" That's not a bad idea. I mean, they've done re-releases of everything else. Why not make one with a, even if it's the black and green or black and
there
yellow?
there was a re-release of the Game Boy. It's called the RG.
No.
Literally was
The
about to say that. Literally, I was about to say that.
Yep.
official
We're all on the same
Nintendo.
page on that one.
Okay, but are you going to pay $150 because you know that's what they're
No.
going to
Well,
charge?
No,
as a
I'll-
collector, I would.
I'll
Yeah.
do you one better. You want a real, sort of real analog pocket.
Wait.
Here's your Game Boy
Mo,
re-release.
ask me
Yes,
that
sir.
question again. You heard my story. I have a OLED for me, my wife, my daughter, my son.
Steven
two
is by
lights.
far the biggest.
Ask that
collector
question again.
out of all of us. He trumps us all in collecting.
Oh no,
like,
no! It's not that I don't believe you because
Keep those super chats coming, boys. Come on.
It's 100 because if they redo it, they're going to sell it for like 150. You know.
For sure.
Just because that, I mean.
That's
You're
I'm
gonna
thinking
get
like
some
300.
better stuff.
150 is a steal. They'll probably jack it up to like 300. Well,
I
they
have
did
a
the
really
Game & Watch.
I have a really cool custom Game Boy Pocket. So I have two. They're both custom. I have a DMG and then I have a Game Boy Pocket, but it's like blue with a really nice what is it? Front lit screen.
Oh, OLED.
Anyways, it's really, really nice. I forget who did it, but I got it off these guys on eBay who like produced them. I'll have to bring it on the show sometime. But it's really cool. And then I actually have like a ton of Game Boy games, and then I have what's it called? I don't know, the SD card thing for Game Boy Advance, so I can play everything else on my Game Boy Advance.
So what you're saying is you are a ROM collector.
No comment, but I can tell you.
So,
that
well, the reason
Cool
I'm
Toy
asking
knows
that
where to
is,
get the ROMs.
I was gonna say, instead of going to Cool Toy, you guys know that you can go to Jayde to get the ROMs.
No, I'm not stealing that bit from Doug. That would be disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not buying it. But no, I think I would buy. I think I would buy it. Maybe a new a Power Glove, or maybe wait,
Boy.
Game Power Glove.
No.
the Power Glove. I know. I realize now why my
Look,
parents never bought it.
I have been collecting stuff since like the dawn of emulation, literally. Like I have a hard drive that has stuff on it that I obtained in like the
that she
probably
has obtained
late 90s, very late 90s, early 2000s.
She has obtained. Is there quotes on that?
Yeah.
You know, actually, I'm sitting there thinking about it. If they did re-release a Game Boy, if they re-release like the titles that went along with it, like the mega sellers, you know, your Pokemon, your Tetris, your Marios, yeah, you know what? I'd get behind it because I don't want to pay $400 for a copy of Pokemon Red or Blue and
Thank you.
Something.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd get that. I'd get behind that.
That would actually
I'd
bring
get
the
behind
cost of all these retro consoles down if they even did the Virtual Boy and they remade it. The collectors would buy it, which would offset this whole
But
collection
the cost of them to actually produce that, I mean, I guess with
That's
the
nothing.
way that the collector market is, I mean, it might actually be lucrative enough for them to do it if they did like limited runs of things like that.
Well, think about it with the little mini consoles that they did, right? How many people that wanted the nostalgia of Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo bought those things, hacked them up, got every game that they wanted on it, and they're happy with it. The Nintendo and Super Nintendo prices came down. So did the Genesis.
Yeah.
They all came down. And I think if they did some of this stuff, like they started making, I hate to say it, they've got remake NES cartridges out there. I've seen them because Mike was telling me to be leery of them. It's bringing prices of things like that down. So I think for collectors, I think anything that is Nintendo to a collector, they're going to buy it.
Right. And it'll retain its value because it's Nintendo. So
Yeah.
and it's not like they'd have to make whole new molds or something like that or
No.
source parts because literally people are making third-party parts and they're selling them and restoring, refurbishing them. Just watch Tronic fix his video of like he just did like 7 of them. So
Yep.
Yeah. As long as it's the OG fat Game Boy that I need 4 batteries for, and you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do it, it's got to be a thick, chunky boy. I don't want a Game Boy Pocket.
Yep.
Or,
I got you.
Give me a big boy.
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot of great games on there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jayde has most of them in box.
Well, it's crazy because the market for almost any Game Boy game complete in box, it's like $100 to $150.
You're not kidding.
Like for almost any game, like at least all the games that I have, I've looked up repeatedly, and the prices range from 100 to, I mean, like the most I've seen for some of them, like $350, depending on what the game is. But complete in box Game Boy games go for a lot of money, and it's crazy. And anything Pokemon, like Pokemon Black on Nintendo DS, that's like $150
Oh
game.
yeah,
right. Like it's like
crazy money on
200. Like it's dumb.
not even that old.
And Heart Gold Soul Silver goes for like $400. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I sold my Pearl like 2 years ago, and it went for like 3 something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I wish I wouldn't have sold my my Pikachu, because I had the complete in box Pikachu, but whatever.
Well, and
MG, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm pulling something up.
MG, I'm going to disagree with you in your comment where it says they don't have machines anymore. You know, we can't make it halfway they used to make. Yeah, they do. Like China's got all kinds of that stuff. All they need is the molds, and that's how we're getting all these third-party knockoffs. If you go and look at the Amber Nicks, you know what I mean, the Mew Minis, et cetera, those are all based off of molds, because slightly modified of what these consoles were in the first place. So they could absolutely do Game Boy. Absolutely.
And this is something, and I want to show this, not because of the game. It's the little Samson game. It's one of the most valuable one. Brand new inbox complete was $20,000. Loose the cartridge is almost $2,400. It's a stupid game. But
I remember when it was like a couple $100.
This is what I want to
wow,
show.
Really?
This is what I want to show. Back in March of 2008, it was $55.
Mm-hmm.
But now we come all the way up to here.
Wow. Now it's up. Yeah. Now you're up over $2,000.
So
Jeez.
to offset this, why not make some? Why not make some remakes of this game where collectors are just happy to have this? It's still completed in their collection. They're paying a fair price for it, and they get to complete their collections of whatever it is. Because I mean, it's across the board. Like you have everything.
I don't know about. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think for collectors,
they still want the original.
That original, yeah. Don't you really want that original? It's like, it's like when I used to collect comics. You want that first print. You don't want the 5th print of something, because it's worth it's not worth anything anymore at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So
or like the newsstand.
Got to be the same thing.
Newsstand editions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but are you collecting to just have it, or are you collecting to utilize it? I think that's the biggest difference of it all. Like some people, they flip out about like, what's the perfect thing? Like I have an omnibus of The Last Ronin, right? But like some people are like, oh well, if you get the original copies of this, or Shattered Grid for Power Ranger, if I've got a freaking book of that. It's like, are you collecting it to read it, or are you collecting it just to like display it somewhere?
Right.
Granted, if I have Amazing Fantasy number 15, I'm not going to touch it at all. I'm going to leave it in there because because of what it is. But what I'm saying is like,
Steven,
initially you buy stuff to use it,
Yes.
On that price charting thing, I'm just looking at Game Boy games, and you should just bring it up just for a second, because like the pricing is wild on these things.
Yeah, that's why I was saying.
And Mike, I totally agree with you. Like I'm one of those collectors who mostly like has the things because I've collected them over time and like actually play them, but just keep them in really good condition,
right?
Because they're collectible. Mm-hmm. But I do buy things sometimes just to have them in my collection, or because I want them. But majority of the time, like I want to interact with that.
But how many of us have these old consoles? And Jayde, I know you do too. We have the multi-cart that has every game that the console ever produced, and then some. We have the Japanese games and all the other releases for it.
Right. Yeah.
That like right now, I have every Nintendo game ever made on a single cartridge that they'll play. Mm-hmm. But I'm going back and buying all these cartridges to basically sit on the shelf because nobody's touching them.
Right, but now that goes to my point. You don't want a reproduction at that point? Don't you want the original? If you're collecting it to have that collection,
Yes.
don't you want an original?
Yes, but I'm also not going to spend $20,000 for. I'd be okay with
get that.
Well, I'd be okay with the remake on something like that.
Well, it depends on what the game is. For instance, I literally just popped in TMNT 2, the arcade game, the other day just to take a picture and taunt Golly in my Discord server. Like, yeah, dude, or Mario 3. It's something, and it's just maybe it's something that we're chemically just trained to have that triggers memories or whatever. It's just something about sliding that official cartridge in. Yeah, I've got EverDrives for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo and the 64, and yeah, I've got 762 NES ROMs on my PC right now. That's how many is in the actual library. But it's just something. But it's something about just sliding it in and then just turning it on.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that.
I mean, if I could right now, I would take every PS5, every Switch, every Xbox Series X game, and I would make some kind of backup of it and just put the original up on the shelf for display or to collect. Because I don't want to mess with that. Like, I remember when I collected football and baseball cards, I always kept the doubles, and I would put them in a binder. When people wanted to look at my cards, they got the doubles to look at. They never got my actual collection. And it sounds funny, but I mean, I didn't want my originals messed with, and so a lot of the games that are in the other room that I have that you guys have seen, and that's going to get into a discussion in a little bit about, are you collecting or are you hoarding? And I think it's interesting.
We're kind of there already.
Well, yeah. And so I want to bring that up because at what point do you say I'm no longer collecting, I'm hoarding? Because I'm not like a professional collector, and I'm not going to lose sleep. I've got almost 70 consoles over there that have games for it. Like, I'm never going to collect for the whole. Like, so at what point do you say I'm hoarding?
When I think of hoarding, though, I think of like something that's so out of control that stuff is falling all over the place. You don't even keep track of what you have anymore. Like, that's when you're not collecting. Like, you don't even keep track of it. Like, you don't know where it is, but you buy stuff. You have boxes that you could dig through and be like, oh yeah, I forgot I got this. Like that, I think is when you get into the hoarding space.
I mean, because this goes even with the arcades, because I've heard that said too. Like, oh, now they're doing. I'll say it about me. Now he's doing console games, which I've done the whole time I've done the arcades. But he ran out of room, so he's done hoarding the arcades, the home scale arcades. So now he's hoarding video games, and I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm collecting, and I actually at this point in my life I have more fun collecting than I do. And I keep track of all my games that I have. I have an app on my phone that I scan every barcode of every game with CLZ.
Oh,
I do, and it tells me what my collection's worth. It tells me if I have a duplicate. This is great. Like if you're not sure, because I mean after you have so many games, you're like, did I get that one or do I have that variant? You can just scan it. Done. Easy.
Yeah, you definitely need something like that. I mean, I recently got into vinyl records, and I started getting some stuff and collecting. And same thing, I got an app, I got to scan it, tells me what it's worth, and that way I know which ones I got, which ones I still want to get, that kind of thing. So same concept.
So wait, I was gonna say, what about? I want to get you while B's writing this, but B, define hoarding. Why do you say you're a hoarder of games, or excuse me, a hoarder of toys but not games? Go ahead, Mo.
Oh, I was going to agree with B because I can answer that. Because literally, my office closet is full of nothing but figures and boxes. And anybody who was around in the early days know that there were shelves upon shelves upon shelves behind me of just figures and pops and stuff. And even right now, the thing's freaking chock full. You're just like, you don't need this. And then you see a Kid Buu statue from Japan that that you need or whatever, or that you want, and it's just one of those things where it's like Sephiroth over there in package, brand new first edition, and Broly and stuff. It's just even with the stupid amiibos, it's stuff that we know that we want, but we know 10 to 1 we're not going to use. But hey, maybe one day down the line it might be worth something, because as kids we didn't know any better. Some of us got rid of a bunch of stuff, some of us broke a bunch of stuff, and now it's like, I'll show you now, older Mo. We'll keep all this stuff.
But Mo, at what point do you classify yourself as a hoarder? Because are you stepping over things and stepping on things to get?
If the fire department has to come to your house to get you out because there's so much stuff blocking your path, then you're a hoarder.
Well, no, because
if
you've watched the show
realistically
Hoarders. You've watched the show Hoarders where people got to make cow paths through stuff to get to it. Like B's saying,
If your game boxes have cockroaches in them, you're a
that's
hoarder.
that's the way.
But that's
So I
different,
agree
though.
with
Like,
that.
if that's different, if you watch Hoarders, people are believing in collecting old newspapers and collecting old chicken bones and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about like collecting like games and toys and stuff. Legit, some of the stuff.
No,
that you
he's
see
not
people
kidding.
collect on Hoarders, like it's because it's mental illness. And yeah, we've already said before, we're all sick. Okay, doesn't matter what it is, we're sick. We're not to the extent of where we're saving old paper plates or something like that, but we all have an issue. Steven, you have an app that literally barcode scans and keeps all that stuff, so you're way beyond me. So,
but I feel like that's how you have to collect. Like even with baseball cards, I have to keep a tally of what I have so I know what I have so I don't buy it again. Like I feel like if you just keep buying without any kind of reason, that's hoarding.
I'm not gonna lie. There are times when I feel like I just want to like throw all my stuff out the window because it's like, I don't really know like how to properly articulate this, but I mean, I don't want to feel like I have any kind of like attachment to my stuff. And it really is stuff that I've collected for the most part over a long period of time. And occasionally like, I'll spend money on things. And that's when I start to feel like weird about it, is like if I'm buying older things because I'm just like wasting money, but it's like not, but it is at the same time. I'm like, I could be doing something else with this money.
Collecting.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing though, is it's
but here's my
there are times where and I'll just finish this out real quick. I'm sorry, Steven. But basically I have to like figure out for myself like how to kind of mitigate or curve my collecting habits, because sometimes it's just like I see something new, like I think I'm like finished, and then you see something else and you're like, oh, I kind of want that though, and so I really have to like figure out how to like kind of curve things and adjust my collection so that it's refined and like rationalize like what I'm actually going to use out of it sometimes. Because to be honest, like and for the sake of logic, like I really just don't want a bunch of crap that I'm not going to use. But at the same time, like there is the collector inside of me who's like, just leave it. Like, well, it's all this stuff that you
and that's
have,
what I want to dovetail on what you're saying here, because you're saying like you could be spending your money on other things that are maybe more valuable or something you should be doing it. Okay, so my question then to you guys is, how many people do you know that go out there and spend $80 to $100 every week on cigarettes because they smoke 4 packs a day, or whatever it is that they smoke, or vape, or whatever it is that they do, or beer, they have to go out and buy so many cases of beer. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I don't buy that stuff. So the way I look at or guys that go out to nudie bars or whatever, that's all money or lottery tickets. You pick your vice, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm looking at it going, I have something to show for that money by collecting what I collect. But the question I want to ask that, Jayde, you said you don't want a lot of junk around the house. I have people that come over to the house, and I would venture to ask anybody in the chat room, would you collect all this stuff if nobody came to your house? Meaning you didn't have people to play these games, or you didn't have people to see your collection besides the internet. If the internet wasn't here, would you collect it?
That's a good question. I mean, and for me personally, it's kind of hard to answer, because I feel like part of the whole internet aspect of collecting or sharing your collections is the shared space, like the mindset, the kind of like joy that it brings everybody to talk about these things and to share what they get, and like the fellowship that you get in collector spaces. And so like I definitely think that it is like an expansion or of an outlet for us to be able to use as collectors to cross ways with other collectors and talk about our collections and our habits and like what we're doing right now, basically.
Yeah.
So I definitely do think that it is another thing that probably encourages us as collectors, but that we also, like, for me myself, sorry, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but for me myself, like, it's made me also become cognizant of how I collect things, because I try to like be cognizant of, like, what kind of a deal am I getting? What am I getting into? And, how beneficial is this going to be to my collection? Like, because I don't want to buy a bunch of stuff and run out of space. Like, I really don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of stuff that I'm like not using. But I mean, there are things that I don't want to get rid of just because there are times that I actually use it, or, it's appreciating in value. Sometimes I even think to myself, like, whenever I die, eventually have this stuff, it'll be boxed up, and then I can like give it to my kids if they want to sell it or keep it. They can do whatever they want with it, but it's going to be worth more money one day. I'm like, it's basically like an asset.
So Bill, I want to get your opinion on this, but I want to add to this so you can answer this. I had a friend over my house here last week, and he said, I want to rent this out and have some friends come over so they can be taken back in time to be around all this stuff, to be taken back to the 80s when they were kids and they were collecting this stuff. Mm-hmm. He said there's something about it when you're in this room and you're surrounded by all this stuff that it instantly takes you back to your childhood. You look at a game and you instantly remember what friend you played that with or where you were at. Do you guys have that same feeling, or do you get that same response by people, even though you're wall to wall? Like I'm probably more wall to wall than anybody because I keep it neat. I try to. Mm-hmm. But what do you guys think?
Absolutely. I mean, I just we just had a birthday party for my granddaughter. I had a bunch of people over, and I was showing off my game room for the first time to a bunch of people, and I think one of my relatives said something about that, about you should rent this space out and try to make some money back on what you've spent on it all. But look, going back to Jayde's point too, I think there's always been a social aspect to collecting, no matter what you collected, whether you were into video games when you were younger or comics or whatever it was, you hung out with and you had friends who were into the same thing. And if you got a game that your friend didn't, the next thing you know, you're saying, come on over and play, or they're inviting you over to their house to play and whatever. So I guess there's a difference between, whether you're collecting new stuff that, other people are collecting that you can enjoy together, or like you said, collecting nostalgia, to show off to people. I think they both have social aspects to them. I think you do. I think you want to share your love and your passion of these things with others. It's just natural.
I think that for me, I think Matt Astor, shout out to Matt Astor, said it the best way I could. Like when I was younger, dude, we were younger. We didn't have money to buy all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So now that you're older and you've got, disposable income and whatever, you can get the things that you always wanted, And yeah, retro stuff is big right now. I was just in a Walmart and they had a freaking Dragon Zord, and instantly 10-year-old Moat was like, bro, you never had a Dragon Zord when you were a kid. Like, you think I'm joking? Listen, there's a Megazord.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
I didn't have it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just one of the things where it's like, when you get older, when you were younger, you're like, when I get older, I'm going to have all this stuff, that you want to have. And yeah, and part of it, part of it for a lot of people is just a dopamine rush. It's just, but then some of it literally is like, it's an emotional tie to it, even if it's something that you pick up, for the first time. To Jay's point, it's memories. Kids come over, the kids hang out, whatever, you do the stuff with kids, whether it be playing on a Dreamcast or whatever else, right? And it's all tied to that. One day you're not going to be here, but those memories will exist. Mm-hmm. So I think that's also a big part of it. Can we get a little obsessive with it sometimes? Yeah, of course we can. Mm-hmm. But it's and it's cool to have people over and let them check out whatever else, right? But for me personally, it's the ability to have something tangible that that you want it. It's like this whole room right here, and Evan, it's me. Evan asks me all the time, "You should do a room tour. You should do this." I'm like, "No, bro. I'm like, listen, dude, if people knew how much of a nerd I really was, they wouldn't take me seriously for being a 6'3" black Cuban dude. They would think that I was XYZ. I'm like, bro, and then I tell them, like, dude, like, not everything's in this office. It's in my living room and everywhere else. I'm like, dude, listen, no, just no. But
I definitely.
But honestly, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I can relate to, like, I don't like using that word, but I wasn't like poor per se growing up. But I mean, my parents got divorced when I was young, and it was tough. So maybe I was more at one house than the other, but my parents were by no means wealthy, and
Right.
my mom would like bust her butt to occasionally be able to, like, get me and my brother stuff that we would ask for.
Exactly.
And so there is definitely that aspect as I got older to be able to try and kind of obtain some of the things that I wasn't able to get when I was younger. And I mean, when I was like younger, older, like 19, 20, and stuff like that. So I definitely agree with that, a lot of it stems from, a lot of our collecting habits stem from the experiences that we had when we were young.
Yeah, and it's just one of them things where it's like, people are like, oh, well, you love Capcom. When I was a kid, dude, literally, that was like one of the only like 6 games I had. It was Street Fighter, Maximum Carnage, Power Rangers, Sonic 2, Eternal Champions, and I want to say Troy Aikman's NFL football, right? So you remember like that kind of stuff. It ties to you, So for me, it's just one of the things where it was like, oh, well, I always wanted to play XYZ when I was younger. Yeah, I could emulate it, but I really wanted it, Do you need to own a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 1 for Dreamcast? No. Do I? Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you need to own Mario 3 on a cartridge? No. Do you have it? Yep. Why? Because it's like, this is stuff that either you have emotional ties to, or like for me, you just sit with it. There are other individuals that are just like, well, I'm just gonna get it because I can. Like people in my Discord yesterday bringing up Zelda who went and pre-ordered 4 of them so they can flip them. Not mad. Get your money, boo boo. You know what I'm saying? But it's the personal thing. It's like, I think hoarding is when you're putting Funko Pop figures in a garbage bag and store them into your closet. Oh wait.
Yeah.
or you take video game systems and video games and put them in ShopRite bags, so they actually have to ban you for taking bags. Glenn,
here's one of the things that I do though, that I have used as a tool to kind of mitigate, and that is, all right, if an emulator doesn't play it perfectly, or I mean, when I say perfectly, I mean like it plays all the games on that console and there's no major issues. I mean, no major issues. So like Super Nintendo emulation, right? Then I might consider bypassing the physical collection of whatever that is, and and using like an emulator to play it, for example. But the thing is, like, I own a lot of those consoles. But for example, like, what is it? PS2, N64 still isn't emulated perfectly.
Nope,
certain games
not even on Switch.
Right. And so there are certain games that, like, the ones that I'm going to aim for are, or the consoles and the games are ones that either aren't emulated properly or are not going, it doesn't look like they're going to be working like that anytime soon, especially, but if there is something that I can do to play it on the real hardware, then and it's not like gonna just destroy my bank account, then I'll probably take that option.
I think that's where you get into trouble, right? Where people skip paying their bills to support their habit, their video games, whatever they're collecting, right?
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But to Jay's point, you need if you're a gamer, you need to have a 64. You need to have a Sega Saturn. You know what I mean? Like these are hard to run games to emulate, whereas you could emulate Dreamcast on a potato. So
and then there's ways to mitigate it further, like N64. You can get it makes more sense to spend $200 on in one of those Ultra 64 carts that you can use an SD chip in.
Which reps?
Then, to actually try and buy all the games because they're so expensive. And same thing with Sega Saturn. They have like a GDMU for Sega Saturn, or you can get that action replay cart for like $20 off Amazon and just flash it and then just play.
Well, no,
burn CDs.
But see, the satiator card, you don't even need to install a Terra Onion or a GDMU. You can just pop it into the expansion port and run Sega Saturn games from there.
Right.
Sorry. Sami Zayn, it was all a dream. I used to be Word Up magazine. Yeah, that's juicy. Notorious B.I.G. Anyway, let's keep going.
So I think emulation has its place when like something like TurboGrafx 16 and again like Little Samson, when you have games that are just astronomically priced that you want to play, whether for knowledge for doing a show like this or maybe you're doing something specialty on YouTube. Emulation is it's not perfect, it's not the best, but it'll actually allow you to play the game without having to spend thousands of dollars and on a rare title.
But those kind of like hardware options though are also really good investments in my opinion. Like if you have the system hardware, and I mean there are so many options out there now. Stone Age Gamer, is a major distributor where you can go and look at things like that, but I mean, there are so many options to be able to still utilize that original hardware. And I think that from that point of view, like at least if you're getting the original hardware, that you can still at least experience those games the way that they were, meant to be played with the original hardware if you want to go that route. So I think that that's something that's really cool for people who collect, but also really actually like to game and play the games and stuff like that.
So,
but see, emulation it's a double-edged sword because let's talk about.
But that's not emulation though.
Well, no. But I understand that. But what I'm saying is like if you talk about getting into emulation, some people, and this is the argument I hear all the time. Certain games, if you play on Fightcade, run better than they do on actual arcade hardware. When it's the inverse, where on Fightcade, some of them are sped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so right. They get used to that, but then they go play. Let's say, Jade, you can talk to this. You on the cabinet. Let's say they go play MVC2, and then they talk about how slow it is and how it's not responsive like this. I'm like, but dude, this is the game.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
What's crazy?
The best version.
It's funny you say that because what's crazy is I was playing MVC2 on Dreamcast last night because I was testing out my arcade joystick. The Dreamcast official one with the green buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
And I need to like fix my joystick on there. It works, but it's like loosey. Anyways, so I was playing it and I went to like select my characters and I was like, where are my characters at? I never noticed that on the Dreamcast version of the game, the characters are actually in different, the unlockable characters are actually in different places. Yeah. But that's not my total point. My total point is that the game actually plays better on it doesn't play better, that's not true. But on the Arcade 1-Up cabinet, it's sped up compared to the arcade version. So going back and forth between the arcade version and the Arcade 1-Up version in single player mode, single player mode, it actually is faster. And I'm not talking about I'm not going to talk about input lag or anything. I'm just talking about the game itself.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's faster. Like doing supers in the arcade, you get more slowdown in certain supers in certain areas than you do on the Arcade 1-Up version. And so that's the true thing about emulation is that it could be a little bit too fast or it could be a little bit faster and stuff like that. So
and that's what I was trying to say. It could ruin the experience of the game that you're playing depending on what it is. Also, Dreamcast version is the best version. This isn't a debate. And if you own the PS2 version and thought it was good, I'm going to say let's fight. Because PS2 was worse. Anyway.
So let's put a button in this and get on to Bill's segment here. But Mo, are you a collector or are you a hoarder?
I collect, but I hoard Funko Pops apparently. So yeah, I have a problem. But the Funko Pops are expensive. Question mark.
Is it out of control that you have to have a cow path?
No.
Then you're not a hoarder.
I have size 16 feet. Oh no.
All right, Jade, are you a collector or are you a hoarder?
I think I'm a collector. I think I'm a collector. I think that there's a little bit of hoarder in me though, but I think I'm a collector. I think I'm still okay enough at what's the word I'm looking for?
See, Steven, you need to have an extra phrase on this. The phrase needs to be: Are you a collector? Are you a serial collector? Are you a hoarder? That's what you
Well, I
need.
mean, yeah.
We need like a chart, like green, yellow, red.
I know. There's like so many different levels, but I think for most of us, right? You would say you're a collector. Bill, are you a collector or are you a hoarder?
I would say collector. I don't think I have nearly as much, especially game wise, as you guys are talking about. But
so
even the things, the toys, like Mo was saying, the pops and whatever, I don't have them, lying around everywhere that I got to step over them. So I'll go collector.
So one last question for everybody here before we move on, and that is, and this will determine if you're a collector or hoarder, and this is the same way with you guys in the chat room. You're a hoarder if hard times came and you couldn't get rid of your arcade one-ups, AtGames, Legends, Pinball, whatever you have, and your console stuff, everything you've spent years and years collecting. Now I'm going to ask you, Mo, are you a hoarder or are you a collector?
Hard times.
You have to give that up because your daughter needs an operation.
Then I'm a collector. Absolutely, that stuff can go.
Okay,
stuff, but that's different circumstances.
No. The hoarders can't get rid of that.
Well, yeah. Well, that's an easy answer. It doesn't matter. Everything.
Yeah, if you can't let go, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You can't let it go.
I agree. I would easily be able to let go of stuff if I had to feed my kids or whatever it was. I would.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm 100%. The same way, Bill. I saw you shaking your head.
Absolutely.
That I think determines if you're a collector or hoarder. If you position everything neatly, or you have them, however you have. If you're the only one living there and you want to put them, like Moat was saying, you put them in a trash bag in the closet, and you don't have a significant other who's going to care that you have them in a trash bag in the closet. Who cares?
Listen, it's my office. What I do in here stays in here.
So there you go.
Cookies.
Right. So I feel like if you're one of those people that if hard times fell, I just used the operation as an example, but if hard times fell, like somebody could come in here tomorrow and offer me $25,000 for my whole game collection, and I'll say, would you like them in a box or would you like them in a bag? I'll do it again.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Like, well, I mean, I guess it all depends. Like for instance, dude, like I can get rid of collections. My pinball is gone this weekend. The arcade one pinball is gone this weekend, so it's like I don't have a problem getting rid of this stuff because
but I mean, like
getting rid of stuff. But
I mean, like pricing wise, like
I was using it as an example. I will let it go. Yeah. I can let it go.
And interests shift too. Like I said, for years since I was like 9-10 years old, I was collecting comics. I sold my whole collection like a year ago so I could start a new one and get into the arcade one up and all this stuff.
I have that's crazy. I have 4 boxes of comic books in my garage, and then my brother's baseball card collection, and I have I have all these he doesn't want it. He's just like, just keep it, sell it.
I have
and
some.
He's literally thousands and thousands of baseball cards in like 2 boxes, and I'm like, I know that these like have to be worth something, but I just don't even know where to start.
But see, I have about
they're all like
I have about 8 Avon boxes. If you remember the Avon boxes, the really big boxes.
Avon, lady.
Okay, my grandmother did Avon. I have 8 of them over there of baseball, football, basketball. I have Shaq's rookie card. I have Jerry Rice's rookie card. I have Bo Jackson's rookie card. I've got Emmitt Smith's autographed second year card. So Mike Worley, if you're still here, Little Samson will be in my collection one way or another because I have
one way.
And I'm glad you said that, Bill, because my interests have changed and my son has no interest in collecting any sports cards. He really doesn't like sports on TV. I'm literally thinking about selling them to a guy who wants to buy them so that I can fund this collection that my son does want. He wants my gaming collection. Okay? So I don't see anything wrong with that. And Jayde, that might be something that funds your your next thing. So I'm looking at some of these games that are like, man, I would never pay 10 grand for that game. But if I can get 10 grand in baseball cards or football cards or rookie cards that I have, or Joe Montana's rookie card that I have, why not?
Here's one like, so let's see, 88. Yeah. So when I was a kid, my dad used to take us to baseball games. In San Bernardino, there's a stadium out there where the team that used to play there was called the Spirits, and Ken Griffey Jr. was rookie in the minor leagues on that team. Like this is something that I remember very vividly because my dad told me and my brother when he got drafted to the majors or whatever. But I'm looking at his minor league card right now, and it's worth like $600. But I remember seeing him play at that stadium in San Bernardino, the minor league stadium in San Bernardino. It's not even a stadium really, but and thinking like, oh, that's cool because I remember watching him play when my dad told me about that. But I mean, I know my brother has like all these crazy cards, like from the 70s even.
That's what I'm saying. You could get rid of them to fund your current collection that you have.
Like, where do I go? Who do I go to be like?
I have a guy that's local that'll buy any retro toys, any cards, and he doesn't care. They don't have to be graded. A lot of places they want them graded. And
but I know there's like other good cards because my brother used to brag about who was it? Mark McGuire and who was the other guy?
Ricky Henderson
Sosa.
Or Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, Sosa and McGuire. And he would brag. I think he bragged more about his Sosa cards, but he has like, I know he has a ton of Nolan Ryan.
Sosa has like the all-time. Wow. Yeah, I have a ton of Nolan Ryan too. The all-time base stealer, wasn't he? Sosa. He had the record for all-time. I thought he did with the Expos.
Look at this. Is my face.
Well, either way, Jayde, you could look this up. Both. You could look it up.
I know nothing about that stuff.
It's Beckett.com, Beckett.com. You can look up any of the cards that you have and find their values. And it's Pokemon, anything. But Beckett Guide is what most collectors and most
that used to be a magazine.
Yeah, it was. It was. You could buy it at your local but online you can I think there's even ways you can scan it. There's grading prices, authenticators, different things like that. But it's definitely something that you can take a look at.
Is it Sosa in the laundromat?
I don't know. I haven't followed baseball.
Steven.
Only on Saturday.
Steven.
That's a different Sosa.
Laundromat Wars. I'm sorry. Elmo watches wrestling. He's sorry. I'm 100 different places. Anyways. Let's take a look at Bill's retro gaming spotlight because I have a feeling he's going to have an interesting conversation for us when we come back.
Retro gaming spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to another retro gaming spotlight. You know, I'll bet if we all sat down and we talked about our favorite arcade games of all times, for most of us, that would be a game that is pretty well known. Probably something that, hits one of those top 50 or top 100 arcade games of all times. But for every Pac-Man and Street Fighter that we love, there's always that one game, that really obscure title that maybe not a lot of people know about, or maybe, people knew about it, but it wasn't super popular in the arcades. But if you went into an arcade and you saw that game sitting in a corner somewhere, you're pumping quarters into it. And that's what I want to talk about today, is those little more out there titles. All right? So let's have a discussion. What is your favorite arcade game that you probably wouldn't consider a top game, a mainstream game? But like I said, you walk into an arcade and you see it, you're playing it for sure. I'll start the conversation off with mine. Here it is. This is Crossbow. This game was developed and published by Exidy and released into the arcades in 1983. It's a light gun shooter, and in the game, you are tasked with helping your band of adventurers traverse multiple screens with the goal of eventually getting to a castle where they have to defeat the Master of Darkness. Now, in the game, you don't actually control the adventurers themselves, but what you do is you have a gun that is actually shaped like a crossbow, and it's one of the things that I found really cool in the arcades. As a matter of fact, if you've ever seen the arcade machine, it's pretty hard to miss. I mean, come on, just look at how cool that is. Now, one of the other cool features about this game is that it actually had multiple paths that you could take in order to get to the end scenario. So every time you played the game, you could take different paths and make the game slightly different. Other than that, it's just a kind of a fun shooter. Your goal, like I said, is to just keep your adventurers alive by shooting at anything that could possibly take them out and help them get from one end of the stage to the other. If you lose all your adventurers, the game is over. But there you have it. A unique game for sure. Definitely fun, but probably never going to make anybody's top list of the best arcade games ever made. Now I throw it back to you guys. What's your guilty pleasure? What's your, obscure title that you love? Let us know in the comments. Now, back to game time.
Yeah, so there you go. I wanted to hear from people and tell me what's your guilty pleasure, that obscure game that people don't really know about, and you saw mine on there. I used to love that game. If I went into an arcade and I saw that arcade there with that crossbow-looking gun, I knew I was playing that. It's not the greatest game, but it was just something about standing there with that crossbow and shooting at these, all the things coming at you on the screen that I just absolutely love.
All right, Jade, what was yours? Do you know? Do you have one, or did you always?
Why do you go to me?
Because you're the arcade. Well, fine. Moat. Which one was your arcade?
Hold on a second. Let me. I don't have a deck in here, but let me hit the Uno reverse back to Jade because she's a lady.
Oh,
I would say okay. The problem is like.
See, I tried to be nice.
For me, some of the obscure games that I remember seeing in the arcade that I would go to were ones that I had not seen, like, in the arcade that I would normally go to. So if I would go to Aladdin's Castle at the mall with my dad, there were games that I knew were going to be there. Like, for example, Altered Beast, Golden Axe, Moonwalker, stuff like that. And so a lot of times it would be games that I had only played on console and didn't know because I was a kid that they were arcade games as well. But like Jungle Hunt or Moon Patrol, and I don't know if that's a AAA title or not, but Moon Patrol, Jungle Hunt, some of those kind of games like Popeye. If I would see some of those older games, I would automatically be attracted to that and either want to sit there and watch it on attract mode, or if I had quarters or could get quarters, like try it out. Because it was always fun to see the difference between the arcade version and the console version. And I really had like a lot of attention to detail when I was a kid. So I would be like fascinated by the sprites and gameplay on the arcade version versus what I was playing at home, and I would always want to try it out because the arcade always looked better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel bad for using Uno reverse. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. All right, so I guess mine, for me, it's pretty easy, but it's just something I'm like, for me, it was obscure because you rarely saw them in my area. It was like Bucky O'Hare because you only saw like one in like one place. So for me, because it's a Konami title, The Simpsons, X-Men, those got Turtles, those got the attention. Bucky O'Hare would usually sit and collect dust. And where I used to see that used to be sitting right next to Ring King. So I guess like those two, I guess together, like in the Island of Misfit Toys, those were the arcades that were just like, they were just ignored, So those are mine. Yeah.
Ooh, I know. So there was this game called Sky Soldier, and you would be in this like little jet, and then you would go like through a time warp, and you would go back in time, and so you would like time jump, but you could play 2 players on it, and one of the jets would be red and the other I think was like green. And that was like one that I had only seen in one arcade ever. But that I was just fascinated by, I think because it had like time travel and looked futuristic. And then I know Zaxxon is more common, but I only saw that like once or twice in the arcade. And I thought it was just really cool because I had it on Atari, but it was on the disk drive. And I don't know if you guys, anybody who used Atari disk drives, if you remember, they'd break all the time. Like the belt would break on those disk drives all the time. So if my disk, like sometimes it wouldn't be working, and I hated that because I loved all the disk drive games were like the best versions of them. But Zaxxon was a disk drive game that we had. So if I saw it in the arcade, I was just like, oh wow, this is so cool. Like the graphics look so much better, and it was neat. So those are definitely 2, maybe not super obscure, but
Yeah, I think it's a regional thing. Like another one I just thought about, like is off road. Off road was like really rare to see, like the 3-player. It was really rare
like
to see.
the
I
four-
was,
the
I was just
four-player
gonna
one?
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that
Yeah.
off road
Yeah.
would have probably been the one with the 3-wheel because there was only one arcade in my area that ever had that one, and anytime we had a chance to play that, we went and played that. WrestleFest, believe it or not, was another one. They only had it.
Dude. Yeah.
They only had it at the bowling alley. That was it. WrestleFest. Anytime we went to the bowling alley, we always played WrestleFest because the arcade didn't have it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like there was literally this obscure store for like 40th and Capitol that literally had WrestleFest, and they were sort of like, you go get groceries, you play WrestleFest. Literally was like the only arcade there.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably part of the reason why I love that so much. But yeah, WrestleFest too. That and you see them Power Rangers. That was the only time I ever really saw the cab.
Yep.
So
100%.
You know what else was really cool about the arcade era, or coin ops era, I should say, is like all the little places. I was thinking about this the other day. All the little places that you would find where they had like one arcade machine tucked into a corner, you know?
Right.
Like my dad used to take me to this donut shop before school in the morning if we had time. And he would take me, but then he would play Commando, and I would just sit there and watch him, play Commando. And we would get donuts. He would play that before we left, and sometimes he'd let me play with him, and then he'd take me to school. But there was tons of other places like laundromats or other random places where you would see arcade machines, like one, maybe sometimes two, kind of like tucked into a corner or next to a vending machine or something like that.
So
and you would often find obscure machines there. Sorry.
Have you guys? No. I was just asking. Have you guys been reading the chat room here? I've been trying to throw up the comments because some of these games, man, Kung Fu Masters, Arm Champs,
Puzzle Fighter,
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Yep.
These guys, it's interesting because I think we're making everybody think back. But the more I think about it, I think we'd all agree, right? A lot of the games they're mentioning were obscure, and we probably found ourselves playing these games when we could.
You know what? When you get up to the more modern era, so to speak, but like the MVC2 time frame, so like Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, but okay, Pocket Fighter and Rival Schools by Fate. I saw those two in the arcade before they were ported over to like PlayStation and Saturn and stuff. And I remember seeing Rival Schools and Street Fighter EX and thinking like, what is this? Like what has happened to arcade games? Like, is this how Street Fighter is going to be from now on? And EX came out before 3. So it was, so it was like, information wasn't as readily as available. So it was like, I would go to the arcade somewhere else, far away from where I live, or not that far, maybe like 45 minutes, and see all these games that I hadn't seen at my arcade. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like 3D Street Fighter and Rival Schools by Fate and I think even Soul Calibur at one
I was
point.
just going to say Soul Edge. I was just say never. I saw Soul Edge.
Yeah, Soul Edge. That was it. Soul Edge and Soul Calibur. And one of the craziest things about Soul Calibur was, when they ported it over to Dreamcast, how much better they made it look. I never saw Soul Calibur in the arcade until after I played it on Dreamcast. So I went to the arcade one day and saw it there, and I was like, "What is this crap? The Dreamcast version's better than the arcade." It's just so funny because the mindset back then was different. Like the fact that we would actually get arcade games that were perfect ports basically, but upgraded to a console. It's like,
right.
You couldn't have asked for more back then. Like, now people complain about a lot of things that aren't,
Yeah. And then, and even in the more modern age, going to an arcade and running into like a Tatsunoko versus Capcom was like running into a freaking unicorn in the wild.
Right.
Oh yeah. I've never seen that in an arcade.
Yeah.
Never.
And that's what I'm excited for with the new arcade that's opening up. You guys saw my video. It was like a few months ago where I got an exclusive peek. Got to go in there. They have every game. I mean, Jayde was throwing games at me. I'm like, yep, they have it. They have it. What was the one, Jayde, that you wanted to know if they had computer space?
Yeah, they had.
They have
a couple of them.
Mint computer space. So these are cabs that none of us maybe got to play them in real life unless we went to a con that had it. Like I know, Bill, you and Glenn went to one and you got to play some of this.
And they had that computer space.
I never played one in the arcade. So for me to be able to go in there, or even some pinball tables from the 60s and the 50s, I think that's awesome. I think that's something that I can really get behind. And just seeing the chat room here, Soul Calibur, I kind of agree with you, Jayde, with that. Like I saw Soul Calibur there for the first time. I was like, "What is this?" like this
yeah,
is
right.
Not...
I mean, and that's one of the crazy things too. Just like talking about that time frame was the Dreamcast is literally a home arcade, and then I was op checking like a lot of my peripheral things for the Dreamcast, and because I'm going to do a video on it. But I'm like, dude, it's crazy when you think about it, because like the Dreamcast was literally an arcade machine that you plug into your TV, and you can play gun games on it. You can play fighting games on it. There's a fighting stick for it. They have a keyboard for it. They have, all these attachments, a fishing rod that you can use with it. All these attachments that you can play, like literal games that were in the arcade at that time. And sometimes the Dreamcast version was significantly better, noticeably better, because of some of the options were on it. And then there's those guys who did the Atomic Wave to Dreamcast ports. And I recently put all those onto my SD card for my GDMU, and I'm like, this is crazy. It's crazy to me that literally you're taking the arcade version of an Atomic Wave game like Samurai Showdown 6 and just putting it in your Dreamcast, and it just plays it. It's not ported. It's literally the arcade version, and the hardware just plays it because it's compatible with it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The guys in the chat room, it just keep going. I'm watching the comments, and I'm like, man, I do remember that game, but I don't remember seeing that one in the arcade or that one in the arcade.
Yep.
I think this is Bill. I think you hit something here that really grabbed a bunch of heartstrings here for people. Because when you put that into perspective, well, okay. So what did they call it? The Play Choice, was it Play Choice 10?
Play Choice 10. Yeah.
I never saw one of those in an arcade ever.
I think I saw it maybe once.
Yeah. I saw it. I saw it. Once.
Did you see it in an actual arcade?
So I saw one at an arcade, and then there's a game shop 25 minutes away from me that actually has a Play Choice 10.
No,
so
sir.
The owner Rob, he restored it and everything else. And
I played one at that arcade, but I've never seen it growing up.
Yeah, I played it and put a quarter in. Or it was 2 quarters, and played like Mario 300 seconds, and it's weird seeing like the little digital timer like with the analog timer like go down and stuff. Like, it's the weirdest thing in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, my friend has a Play Choice 10 with Mario 3 in it. I think he's got another game for it too. But those things are so cool. And then so I did see Play Choice 10s at my Aladdin's Castle. Like they had I think they had a couple of them there actually. But the one that was really rare to see for me was Super Punch Out and Punch Out. And
Punch
I
Out
remember,
was
that it had the double screen, and I remember every time I saw it, like there was people on it playing it, and it was like competitive. But that was like one that I only remember seeing at one arcade that I would go to, and it was at an amusement park that had like a huge arcade, like they had Dragon's Lair and all these other games.
I can't think of it, but it was a game I played just recently at that arcade, and maybe one of you guys know what it is, but you sit there and you shoot these, I think you shoot turkeys, and after you get past the level, it has, but it has like real feathers that pop up in the screen. Like it has like an air poof. I have to go back and watch it on the video, but he had
really?
me.
Yeah, he should. I remember that.
Do you remember
he should?
It was. I had never seen that arcade ever.
I've never even heard of it. Nope.
Jade, if you saw it, there's like an air compressor and like at the end of the level after you shoot all the turkeys, the feathers come up in the screen.
Yeah.
It's like a double layered glass or something. It's like that's the wildest.
Yeah,
I've never seen that arcade.
There was a game I remember I played a few times, and I cannot remember the name of it. It'd be interesting to see if anybody else knows it. And it's a boxing game, but it's actually motion controlled. I forget. I think it actually had gloves you could put on, and then there was a camera that tracked your motion, and you like weaved and dodged and punched. It was like, I mean, like before Xbox had Kinect or anything like that. This was in the arcades. I always liked some of those kind of games that had really weird controls that wasn't just like the standard arcade controls. You knew you weren't going to be able to play this at home, but I remember playing something like that. And like with the laser disc and the shooters, like I know everybody knows games like Mad Dog McCree.
Yes,
but there was another one that I liked even better. It was a Police Trainer.
Oh yeah, Police Trainer was great.
Yeah,
remember Police Trainer?
Yes,
great.
Yeah,
that was a great one, but much lesser known than like the Mad Dog McCrees and the ones like that.
Yeah,
Ring King.
I remember that. It's funny too because there was always those games that were kind of like piggybacking off of other franchises and stuff, and it was like you had games like Mad Dog McCree and stuff like that, and obviously what was so attractive to people at that time I think was like the realism, the fact that it it was like a video, actual like video screen that you would shoot at or whatever and have to like make decisions. And then they had like the Area 51 type stuff coming along where it's like a combination of like CGI and people. But the like the kind of rip-off games, and I don't want to necessarily say that Police Trainer was a rip-off game, but it was just like you would see certain games and you would be like, oh, that's just like this game or that's just like that game, not even thinking at the time like of how rare that those games would end up being or whatever. It's just, I don't know, it's weird.
So they're telling me in the chat room it's called Turkey Shoot was the actual name of the game that I was talking about with the feathers that pop up. So I knew somebody would know what it was. But it's on the video when I did the tour. There's just a lot of unique games out there.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, none of us will probably ever experience that ever again. And that's the sad part. Like, how many of you guys?
Because you'll never see home. Like I said, Arcade 1-Up is not making a crossbow.
No. But how many?
It's never coming.
How many of you guys
or Turkey Shoot
walked into a store? Even?
They probably have the license for it.
Like I remember.
They might.
I remember we used to have a store called Clover. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Clover, but we had a Clover. It was like a Walmart back in the day. It was with Hess's and all these other stores. I remember my parents would go in there to go shopping, and me and my brother would go to the video game section, and we would stand there. The TVs were up on the top, and we would stand there and play Nintendo or whatever other systems that were there.
Oh, yeah.
That was the only experience we ever had with them. And kids today don't even know what that's like. Like, I would love it if we could go back to where they experience like an arcade like that, or even video games in the store. I mean, they got kiosks now, but half of them they're either turned off or they don't let you play them because might have germs. But to walk in there and just, play a game and select from on a CRT.
What's that 80s Christmas movie? 8-Bit Christmas?
8-Bit Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
great
scene was
movie.
just
It's so great.
that was such an epic portrayal of what it was like as a kid to
But we
to
all
play on
did
those
it.
kiosks.
We
Yeah.
all did it,
Yeah.
right? We were all when we were at the stores, the parents would go shopping. We sat there in the video game section, and the workers didn't care because they knew you were going to tell mom and dad that you wanted that game that you were playing there for 3 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus if you were standing there playing, you weren't running around making a mess of all the other toys.
That's right. And mom and dad could
Right.
shop longer, so therefore they were spending more money, right? Because they knew
Yeah.
you were fine. My
But
kids were like,
then
really?
Then they started putting like timers on them.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah,
set.
yeah.
Because there's too many people.
That was dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
thought that was
remember?
great.
Oh, Best Buy. Best Buy. Remember the big screen at Best Buy?
Yep.
Did you guys ever
Yep.
do that?
Yep.
We had a thing, Best Buy. There was like you'd go to the gaming section, and it was like a round kiosk that had game consoles in it, like N64. And I remember when Super Mario 64 came out, the main kiosk, the front main kiosk, had an N64 with Mario 64 in it. And then, up top you have the big screen, but the big screen is like 12 or 16, little TVs like put together to make one giant
Oh, yeah.
screen,
Mhm.
right? I remember that. Their Best Buy's video game section used to be off the chain.
Yep. And Toys R Us. Toys R Us had one of the best,
Yeah, and
best ones
Toys R Us.
back when.
It's so tame now. All those tech stores are just so tame in comparison to like the
And GI
Yeah.
Joel in the chat room says you went over there hoping that there wasn't anyone else there playing, or
Mhm.
I'm sure Moat did this. They had Street Fighter in there. Boy, he was saying, "Let's go right now. We're taking you
I would just
down."
wait my turn. I would
Yeah.
just wait my turn. Yeah, because they had it on Super
Oh,
Nintendo, and I was
KI.
like, "Yeah, dude, let's go."
Yeah, KI on SNES at Best Buy.
But that's
I
what you
remember
did, right?
playing
That was
Oh yeah.
that was your idea of challenging people.
Right.
Was
Yeah,
you go to the store, you go to your Kmart, your Toys R Us,
exactly at Kmart, exactly.
and you challenge. It's like, wow, they got a Nintendo or they got a
Yeah.
Genesis or whatever.
And there was always like vagrant kids, because I would like beg to go to Best Buy. I'd be like, "Can we go to Best Buy?" And there was always like vagrant kids there that would like just tap that thing out, just playing and practicing. And I'm like, "Dude, you've been here for like 5 days. Come on, like let me play somebody else." They just destroy you. But I mean, like I remember seeing the same kids there who I didn't know who they were. Like I didn't go to school with them. I only knew them because I saw them at Best Buy.
Do you
like,
see-
that's a legit thing.
Do you see what Keo said about I have it pulled up there about the big screens at Best Buy?
Pulled it through the ceiling. Oh my God.
He's
What did
like,
the thieves just driving around in a crane? How do you
I
even do
have no
that?
idea. I remember that too. Let's see here. Widow's like, yep, JCPenney's and Sears playing their 2600, 800s and Commodores. What was the other big?
Yep.
What was the other one? It was another big electronics store that was around, but they went out of business. Silo. Do you guys remember
Circuit City.
Silo?
Oh.
Yeah, I was
There
thinking
was-
Circuit City.
I was thinking
Circuit City was another one.
Yeah.
Circuit City had a
Yeah.
lot of that too. And Sears. He said it was done in the middle of the night back in the 90s or the late 90s when that went out.
Makes
Wow.
sense.
If these kids could just experience what we went through, I think we had a cooler upbringing than our parents did.
Well,
Like-
it's like they don't need to go do that stuff now because now they can just watch a YouTube video or they can watch a
but it's
preview
not
video
the
ordering online.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
I know it's not the same,
same.
But literally,
Yeah.
like if you have a teenage kid, dude, and you say to them like, "Hey, let's go check this out," yeah, I'll just watch a review on it and see if it's any good. And I'm just like,
Or 90% of the time, the games that are in the kiosk, you've got them at home. You've got demo versions of them
Right.
at home. They're the demo versions in the
Exactly.
kiosk anyway. If you own a PlayStation or a Switch, you don't need to go there and play, the newest Kirby
But it
because
was
you got the demo already.
experience that was.
But look, that's like a Master System, okay? Like you would Sega Master System. So I forget what the name of the place was. It wasn't Circuit City. We've talked about this before. I can't remember the name, but it was like Circuit City. And basically
service
they
merchandise.
Oh, I
we're not
remember
going
that
down that
story,
rabbit
man.
hole. But they had, Atari there, they had Sega, Nintendo, and I can remember going in there and you would be able to just put on the glasses, and they had the Master System hooked up to a small CRT, and you could use the light gun, you could play the 3D games or whatever. And I even remember that there was people who worked there who, if you asked them, sometimes they would change out the game for you.
Yep.
And this is when I was like pretty small, pretty little. But anyways, I remember that era of the 8-bit, like the cross between, you know, like home computer gaming and like actual just console gaming. And being able to do that, like you could just put the glasses on, try out the 3D games, and you know, you could see how cool a lot of these systems were, just going to the store and play them. And then same thing, there was like obscure stuff, like obscure consoles, like Neo Geo. I only remember seeing it one place, seeing a Neo Geo AES at this really bizarre, like almost hole in the wall gaming place in Orange County. But they had like everything from, you know, Genesis, Neo Geo, pretty much everything. Atari games, disc drive games. I mean, it was huge, really.
See,
but it was small.
I never seen it. We saw the Neo Geo arcade. It was at one of the bowling alleys. That's how I found out about what Neo Geo was.
And the guy there was like telling us about it, and he's like, yeah, these are the same exact games. They're just made for the home console version, but you can take your memory card and use it at the arcade. And I'm like, what is this witchcraft? Like, and I'm like, Dad, can we get this? And he's like, no, that's like $800.
And it was $800 of money then. Imagine that's like $1,600 to $2,000 today. So it's like,
and then the games were a couple, and then the games were a couple $100.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
That was like insane.
It's like, well, never gonna have that one.
If you got lucky, I know like we used to do it all the time. Like we had Funkoland. I don't know if you guys had like it was like Software Etc. or Babbage's out there.
We had Babbage's.
We had Funkoland, and so like, you know, I was happy when my Retro Life did his video about Funkoland, because literally when he was like, yeah, we should get the guy to switch the game out and test it out, and we would do the same thing, and we'd be in there for like almost an hour just in there testing out, you know, whatever else, and then. You know, like the people back then were just cool. Now it's just nowadays you go to a store, and I think the reason why you don't have that experience is because like a lot of the employees are just annoyed. Like I remember, you know what I'm saying? Like, legit, like, okay, so I remember being younger and being one of the managers at GameStop, and I was a manager when the Nintendo Wii came out. And when the Nintendo Wii came out, we had a Nintendo kiosk that had Excite Truck on it. It had Legend of Zelda, and it had something else. But the thing is, we had to like take people's licenses or IDs just so we can give them a Wiimote, because Wiimotes weren't tethered down. We had to like lock them behind the door and whatever else. Like, so it was just kind of like as the time went on, people got a little bit more greasy. And so, but there were instances where people would just sit on the site truck and just play it for hours. I may have stood behind the counter and played it for like. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Whatever. Good time.
So before we wrap up, we do have to wrap this up because we're getting a little long in the tooth.
$650, by the way, when it first came out.
Oh, I know it was expensive, but you want to talk about times changing. There's a bit of news that came out today, and I know Jayde was very disappointed about this. But for those that have been hoping for E3, again, the signs of the times, as Moat was just stating, you know, it's just people could just stay at home, look on their phones. They don't want that experience anymore of going to a convention about video games, E3.
And I'm not going to go on a huge rant, but I just have to say again, E3 was the biggest like celebration and gathering of like video game fanatics and nerds.
What was the draw? What was the draw for you to go there?
Because you knew that, for one thing, each company was going to reveal something different on a different day. There was people there cosplaying. Everybody was there for the same thing. And for, you know, the fact that you're all gamers and stuff. And this is before we were like extremely interconnected like we are now. And so it was just awesome to be able to go to this big event that everybody knew was happening only one time a year. And for these companies to put up these booths and all this, you know, it was just very this magnificent, you know, portrait of things to come for all these different consoles, or, you know, whether it was their new hardware. And then you had all these people cosplaying, and it was fun. It was just fun. it was one of the biggest gaming social events that you could go to, where everybody came together to experience, that, and also be able to see, sneak peeks of things. And you knew you were going to get free stuff. If you went, you were getting free stuff. Hands down, you were going to get free stuff. The booths were always giving out free stuff. And that was another thing too, is you wanted to get in there first, like in the first day, to get some of the coolest stuff that you could get before, they got rid of it. Because if you showed up on the third day, you were getting like maybe some pamphlets or something. Still, still kind of cool, but it wasn't like demo discs.
But Keo brings
cards.
up a good point. What people forget, it started going down the hill in 2016, and then they opened it to the public. Fights started to break out. People forget that this was a trade show. It wasn't really meant for the public. It was meant for the
it was always meant for press.
But that's how CES was too, and I know that's how NAB. We used, because I work in the industry with NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, so we always get mad at these trade shows when we go and we're working it. We're trying to sell to other resellers and vendors and show our product off to potential high-end broadcasting companies that are buying them by like 8,000 units, to 10,000 units. And you get the public coming in here and they're just, like you said, grabbing the free stuff and the stuff that you're using as marketing for the other companies. And they're like, can I get a review of that? Or can I get one of those? And like, I'll buy one. And it's like, yeah, we're trying to sell them by the thousands. So I can kind of see where this is kind of going. Like, I have a feeling that I think all these trade shows are going to end up virtual. I hate to say it. I hate this because I do like going to trade shows. I do like that in person. But I think the days of trade shows with companies in it, when you can reach out and get in touch with any company, sending an email, doing a video chat over Zoom, there's no need to go to these and all the overhead in booths when they're $20,000 to $70,000 for a booth and flights and paying your people to stand. I mean,
but it would still be cool to have like an event where, even if it was like narrowed down to like not the general public, but to have like an event where you could physically go and see things and touch things, even if it was like, every 2 years or something.
Oh yeah.
Or, just to have something where, all these companies and developers are going to be able to get together and give people a chance to touch things and experience things in person, and networking is another huge thing.
Yes.
Yeah, you can network, but now it's to the point where people can just be sent codes for beta keys or whatever else, and just get access to previous builds by downloading XYZ. Tekken 8's a perfect example of that, where Bandai Namco
But Mike, what if they made things that were specific for these events? Like, all right, we're only giving out 100 copies of this, pre-release of Tekken 8 or whatever, and it's the only way you're going to get your hands on it.
But then it goes back to what Keo's original point was, because then it doesn't go to the people that should have it. That you're going to get going to get the public who get their hands on it, and then try to scalp it for X amount.
He actually came up with this. And I'm going to show you a quick video here. So you content creators out there, or you guys that want some arcade decor for your game room, check this out.
Looky here, looky.
Check this out.
Looky here, looky here. This is one of Angel Otera's brand new products from Disability Upgrades. And you guys know Angel. He's always making the marquees for the arcades that you all know and love. But this is something that we've been talking about that I told him I wanted for the longest time for my broadcast area. As you guys know, I do the broadcast back there. But I wanted to have a light up sign in the front of my broadcast area. I've got the TVs on the side over there. And I have a new banner that's coming that'll be black. That'll go back there. But for now, I have it just over the old banner. But as you can see, very easy to set up. 10 minutes. It comes in 2 pieces. He has it separated here. And there's 3D printed T-nuts that screw fast to your backboard. This backboard is made of plastic, and I simply...
What is happening on the screen right now?
I don't know. I see my ugly face. Walk like an Egyptian.
It's just behind. We had an error with the. I told you I was having an issue with the software. We went a little bit longer than I really wanted to go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
It's one of those days for you, hasn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, I updated the software earlier today, and it's been crashing on me after so long. And but it's if people refresh, it'll get back up and going. We didn't lose the stream. They just you just have to read.
We're like way behind.
You just have to refresh it. It'll fix itself. So yeah, I had that issue with that, and that's why it's being a bugger. It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
If a bugger. Bugger.
Yeah, Joe said behind rates of the premium service package.
No, yeah. Well, I had the premium, but I think on that note, I think we are gonna wrap it up. It's almost 11 o'clock.
It's been nearly bloody 2 hours, man.
Yes.
What do you think,
Jade kept us going yet again. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have the premium service package. It's all good though, guys. We can we'll carry this on next week, and hopefully they fix whatever issue that is going on with it. YouTube.com/Shelion.
I think I'm gonna dye my hair.
Green?
Oh boy.
Blue? Purple?
I don't know. I don't know yet. Silver. I don't know yet. I might even cut it a little bit too. Not like super short, but I might cut off.
So is that going to be on YouTube?
Is it going to be on YouTube? You know what? I should
stream.
film it. I should film it.
Yeah. So anything new coming from you this week?
Did I released that GameCube video this week, so there's that. Obviously, I think I'm going to be doing a Dreamcast segment next week, and then I will be doing filming for Arcade Stuff and Arcade Legends Episode 3, which is going to be finished up towards the end of April. But I will be putting out intermittently a few console videos this month, and probably one arcade video, and then Arcade Legends. So potentially,
nice.
A few things going on there.
Before everybody buggers out of here, I still want to get this giveaway going. If you guys get over there, I want to get the 9,000 subscribers, and we want to do the giveaway here for the Xbox.
You're not going to get anything for free if you bugger out, though. You can't be buggering out.
And then there's a PlayStation 5. These are officially licensed. There's a neck pillow / blanket. It's a blue blanket I could show. But if you want to get in that running for that, a lot of you guys give super chats. A lot of the money went to getting things like that we can do for giveaways. So if you guys want a chance at that, just get subscribed. I'm going to do a video this week, upload it, and tell more about it. But I wanted to make sure to put that out there. Mo, what do you got going on? I know you got a lot of stuff going on as far as competitions, and you're also doing a thing for the Children's Hospital. Why don't you talk about that?
So somebody was a genius and didn't realize that they scheduled a tournament for Easter. So we're gonna do it on Palm Sunday. So tomorrow night on the channel, on the Mo Plays channel, it's going to be Arcade 1-Up Community Night. We're gonna have an exhibition match, I believe, between LTG and Welcome to Die. And then we're going to open up the 3 cabinets. So if you've got a KI, a Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, or a Big Blue Yoga Flame Shinku, we're just going to have some fun. Saturday, I'm going to try to watch WrestleMania. Sunday, I'm going to run this tournament. And hopefully we get out here fast enough so I can watch night 2 of WrestleMania.
So
I'm going to get back to making content because I have been inspired by some of the words that I've received lately. And yeah, we're going to have fun. Other than that, Extra Life charity stream on the Mo Plays channel will be on the 16th, and we're doing it it's benefiting the Children's Miracle Network. Mine is specific for the Children's Hospital. here, Wisconsin. I might give this away as part of the giveaway, but they sent this. This is one of the keyboards for the thing, and like
Nice.
it's all for the kids, you know. And I like doing charity
Yeah.
stuff. So if you guys want to see me act a fool and look silly and do karaoke and all this other stuff, we're gonna go for at least 12 hours. I think last year's went for 14 unintended, and there are milestones and everything else. And again, it's for the kids. So
Can you
other
put
than that,
Can you put the link in the chat room for people if they want to donate to?
Sure, I absolutely can do that right now. And there's milestones. If you donate $15, you get into a small raffle. If you donate $25, you get into the big raffle. The small raffle is a bunch of stuff, but the big raffle is for a PS5 that I have purchased myself. So yeah, and again, you guys wonder where all that YouTube stuff goes. It goes to this kind of stuff. You know, it's always giving back, whether it's tournament, whatever else, right? So if you want to click the link, you know, some of the names you guys know in there, P-Dubs donated, Console Fanboys donated, and whatever, dude, like every dollar helps. You know, and this is all nonprofit. So there you go. Again, so April 16th, mark your calendars. You want to see Mo look silly? There you go. And the stream's already up, so you could bookmark it. I guess I could have got that too, huh? Yeah, that makes more sense. Sorry, I'll stop talking now.
Bill, what do you got up on deck this week?
Well, I'm looking at doing an official tour of my newly created game room so people can see what I've got set up there. So that's going to be coming up soon. I've been talking forever about doing the Garlic OS upgrade on by Ambernick, so I think I'm going to do that and put out a little bit of a how-to on that and show off the, you know, whatever changes that makes compared to the built-in OS. And I may or may not have a special surprise for this weekend. We'll see.
Nice.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Nice. And Mo, I just took tonight's super chats and we just donated them toward the kids because, like we always say to you guys.
Oh, cool.
Listen,
well, that's cool.
This isn't it's not necessary. You don't have to super chat. We try to bring up as many chats as we can, but you know, it goes to the kids, man. The kids.
Yeah, literally, it's
literally
like I'll be bald in $200 more. So again, if you read the milestones, there's all kinds of shenanigans and stuff, and the Wheel of Death. Listen, you think I'm playing, but if you go back this time last year and you go look on the channel, and I have no hair and no eyebrows and no facial hair, it was for the kid. So yeah, just saying, it's for the kids.
And then if you donate, you can always say, I had a hand in making Moat bald.
And hey, if you're that person, it's a tax write-off. So Pikachu.
No, it's all good.
There you go.
It's all good.
It's all good. Yep.
We got a bunch of guys in there. So guys, at least how long is this going for?
12 hours. So
no. But when do they have to stop donating? This goes till when?
This goes year round. This is a forever. This is an evergreen link. This will always be active.
So instead of
we're just making the push on the 16th.
Instead of you guys super chatting here, why don't you donate whatever you're going to super chat? Donate it to Moat's cause because he's only at the goal is $6,000, and I know there's a lot of you guys that donate, $40, $50 to our channel, to other channels. Take that money, and I think the other channels would agree, and donate it toward the kids. We all got jobs, man. Like, it's great that you guys want to super chat, and we put it back in, but take it and give it to the kids, man. Seriously, it's a great cause.
The initial goal is 3,000. Sosa fan Bam wants to shave his head at 5, and then Console Fanboy wants to do stuff at 6. The initial goal is 3,000. The stretch goals is what made it 6,000. But again, every bit helps, man.
Do we have to disclose it? Are we shilling for you? Do we have to disclose any of this? Just wondering.
No,
okay,
no.
Cool.
I am shilling for myself, and this is benefiting the extralife.org. So yeah, if anybody wants to call me on that, that's fine. I'll completely take ownership of that.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody for sticking around for 2 hours. We went too long. 2 hours too long.
Sorry.
This week, I'm going to try to get another video out of my What's Up Ness. And we'll see what my pickup is this week. All depends on the weather this weekend. So I will keep you guys posted. Until next time, guys, keep it buzzing. Oh, what a long show. I gotta use the restroom. What are you doing here? Why are you here?
Can't you see a guy's got to do what a guy's got to... You already had me for 2 hours. Like, I got to go. Like, this is scary. The fact that you're here. Just go. Get out of here. Go. Lights out. I got to go. Come on. You got to go. Go. Now.
You're still here? Go home. It's over. Go.
Just got something to drink up in here, and there's a little bit of orange juice left in. Wait. What are you doing here? Like, listen, there's an arcade one up at. Y'all can stalk me all these other places. I can't drink orange juice now. Go to bed. Go away. You need something to do. I'm just saying, you don't need to be up in my fridge. Like my fridge of all places. Come on now. Seriously. No, seriously. Go. Like, this kind of stuff to get you reported around here.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.